There is a classic mayonnaise that brings out the traditional French in 3 levels of tanginess. The mild classic, the medium classic, the strong classic. Tangy the way you love it.
Made with love by Clover.
Absolutely great advice. Thank you so much, Cam, for all of that. Always dropping jewels on Afternoon Express. Now, from classic spread to classic custard, the Clover Classic range has something to offer for any occasion. So if you are looking for ways to jazz up the leftovers in your fridge because stockpiling has left you dry, then our Baby Marrow and feta cigars is one to try. Paired with classic mayonnaise, roast tomato dip. Ooh, sounds delicious. This recipe offers a timeless taste and is worth repeating. SMS the keyword Clover to 33650 to get this recipe sent to your device. SMSs cost R1.50 and free SMSs do not apply. Chef Dumi, yes, this looks really, really good.
Yes, and it also is good for your immune system as well. And as Cam has already said, we need vitamin C. We need stuff that's high in vitamins, you know, high in nutrients. And luckily for us, this recipe also is quite high in those in nutrients as well.
Beautiful.
So we're going to get started with our Baby Marrow, which is one of the main elements of our dish now. So I'm going to ask you just to grill those on the grill for us. And what happens is Baby Marrow is also high in vitamin C, which is also really good for you. So
I didn't know that.
Well, you get started with that. I'm going to get started with the filling for our zucchini cigars. So what I want to do is, I've got my phyllo pastry over here and I've covered it with a wet towel, a warm damp towel. The reason for that is we don't want it to get dry and crack. So I'm going to leave that in the meantime and then get the rest of my fillings done. We've got over here feta. And the one thing I like about this recipe as well is that a lot of the elements, even though separately, they freeze very well separately, like the phyllo. If you're not using it, you can freeze it. The zucchini, even though it doesn't freeze well, one thing you can do is that if you've got some left over, this is a perfect recipe to use for it.
Very nice. So here we're seeing the Baby Marrow and the feta being the filling, but essentially at home, you can create whatever filling you want.
You would like.
Make sure, though, that you do use ingredients that are filled with vitamins, filled with nutrients and that calcium and that vitamin C, most importantly, because, you know, these immune systems are trying to fight, but we have to help them too.
Yes, and I think of all the negative stuff that's coming with Corona, the one thing I do love is that we're now focusing a lot on eating foods that are nutrient high. And one of the best things about this classic range, especially the Classic Mayo, is that it's high in 10 vitamins. So that's one of the best things about this, is that everything that we're trying to put into our recipes now, we're trying to make sure that we make it vitamin rich, which is really great. Corona, yes, I see you, but thank you for making us take better care of ourselves.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, when you're playing like a gambling game, you have to risk it all. And here I'm glad that we're putting our bets in for an ingredient that makes sure that it packs that power punch. And also it's perfect to use whether you're baking, whether you're cooking, and essentially almost anything that you're doing in this kitchen. This classic mayonnaise has you sorted.
Basically, So what I'm going to ask you to do as well, as part of our recipes, that we've got the roasted tomato dip. So I can ask you just to put those in there, perfect, and then get some olive oil on there, and then add some garlic as well as thyme. The reason we're leaving the garlic whole again is because we want to make sure that we get that flavor from it, but we don't necessarily want to have the strong garlic flavor, garlic taste in the actual dip itself.
Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to borrow your knife here, just to put these, you know, kind of take off all the aromatics here to add it to this dish, because I want to make sure...
We were going to take it out anyway, so you don't have to worry about it. Just pull it out of the rest of the...
Easy peasy. I love it, making my life so easy here in the kitchen. But, you know, now that everyone does have the time at home to make sure that they're preparing their foods, one thing that I also learned about eating healthy and staying on the health train is don't eat out of desperation. Plan ahead. Don't eat when you're starving, because then you'll take almost anything.
Of course, you are correct in saying that. So what we've done now is I've added some eggs as well as breadcrumbs, as well as some sunflower seeds into our cigars, because the whole reason, like we said, we're trying to make sure our foods are high in nutrients. And sunflower seeds are also high in a vitamin that actually is fat soluble, which is vitamin E. What that means is that it needs fat to be absorbed into the system, meaning that as much as we're taking care of ourselves and eating lots of vitamins, we need them to be perfectly absorbed into our systems. So that's really, it's great to make sure that we're taking care of our bodies in that way.
That's sounds really, really good, Dumi. And more than anything is that you've done your research so we can make sure that what she's saying is legit. It's too legit to quit. So right now you've put that in the...
Yes, so I'm just going to brush it over with some oil and then some sunflower seeds on top. This goes into the oven to bake.
Okay.
And then you can just mix in a bowl over there. You can just put these into that small bowl with some mayo and some rocket, and that's our dip ready. Because tomatoes are high in umami, we don't add additional salt to that, and that's perfect. It's just gonna get all the additional flavor from the rocket as well as from the mayonnaise as well.
Nice, I love that. This is going to be definitely flavorful, filling, and good for the entire family to try. This dip is coming through with all the things that we need here. It looks
It's
definitely...
high in flavor, it's tangy, it's full of nutrients. You're doing a good job.
Yes! And you know, one thing that I love about different dips is that, okay, fine, we're using a tomato dip here, but essentially you can use any dip, just as long as it's coupled with some Clover Classic, you're good.
I agree, 100% agree with that. Just add some classic to it and everything tastes much better.
Perfect, and these come out looking golden brown.
And
that
there we go.
phyllo pastry is ready to be enjoyed.
And you can just cut it up into little cigars, and that is your recipe done. And we can enjoy.
Yeah, I love busyness in the kitchen. You know, if a kitchen's not busy, it's as if nothing's happened. So I love this. I'm going to be asking you, Dumi, just to cut up the phyllo pastry here and plate whilst I give our viewers the incredible keyword that they need to use and send through to make sure that they get this recipe. So SMS the keyword Clover to 33650 to get this recipe. But in case you need to see how this is made one more time, watch this.
Made with love by Clover.
There is a classic mayonnaise that brings out the traditional French in 3 levels of tanginess. The mild classic, the medium classic, the strong classic. Tangy the way you love it.
Made with love by Clover.